Like, I don't know why you keep
Right.
making it like the Jews. Like, you haven't explained to me what about them being Jews even makes them do this, according to
Well,
you.
it's. I mean, I could go into it, but I would be talking for hours. I think it's really a long history of people that is vast, and it takes years to study all of it. But
Okay, so do you think that
it's
Jews have like a genetic then? Like, do you think there's a genetic predisposition for Jews?
yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so then you're kind of just beyond help at that point. Do you ever think that maybe you have a genetic predisposition to being retarded? Yeah, you can get personal. Just don't say any slurs that would violate the YouTube TOS. You're not going to offend me, though. That's like a question.
Okay. How are you doing, man? After your wife left, how are you doing? Like,
I'm doing pretty good because my wife didn't leave me.
He didn't leave you?
No.
Oh,
Nope.
really?
No. We mutually
Okay.
agreed to divorce. That's why when I called
Oh,
her.
okay, okay. I got
Right.
you. I
No, no,
got
no.
you.
I know you don't believe me when I say that, but I was following
No, I
up.
believe you. I totally believe you. I totally believe you. I'm just curious because I'm not trying to sound mean or anything.
Mhm.
This is just from I'm a totally right wing person. I might think a bit differently about this than you. But
Yeah.
like, if my girlfriend left me for like a bunch of black guys, I would probably kill myself. You know?
Right, because well, that's because you're well. I don't even know. I don't even know how to respond to that because that didn't happen. So like,
I
is
Well, what do you mean? She was talking to like a black guy, right?
wait? You said she left me to get what happened? You'd
No,
kill
no, no.
yourself? What?
Okay, if my girlfriend left me to like get blacked,
Mm-hmm.
I would kill myself.
Okay, cool. Well, then it's a good thing I'm still alive because that never happened.
But she was talking to a black porn producer, right?
Did she? Wait, that was something unrelated. She never slept with that guy. She was never with that guy.
Oh, she was
You know that
talking
my
to him.
wife never left me for anybody else, right?
Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so then let's
But
talk
I'm
about
just
why
wondering
you're
how
so
you're.
insecure about Jews. Because you said
Okay, we can
you
talk
asked
about
me
that.
what I wanted to debate you on, and then I looked through your Twitter and I see 4 hours ago you posted a meme, a very anti-Semitic meme, making it try to seem as though Jews are controlling the progressive movement, and then you have another tweet saying Jews did it.
Right.
So what's up?
Oh, you tell me. What should I like about? Why should I like Jewish people?
Why should you like them? You don't need. I'm
Yeah,
not
give
saying
me
you
a
should
good reason.
like them, but why do you dislike them? Why are you
Because they
blaming them
fund.
for stuff?
Because they fund what I don't like. They fund the Democrat Party. They fund all these academia programs. They fund media. They own the media. They
Just
push all of
Jews?
this.
Just Jews
Not
fund
just,
this stuff?
of course, of course not. But they are the money makers, right? They own most of the capital. They use that to like pour gasoline onto the fire that is quote unquote progressivism.
Can you explain how any of this is happening?
Oh, we can take the biggest study case for this, George Soros, right?
Okay, hold on. Yeah, then
Billionaire
I'm gonna
Jew.
stop you right away then and just ask you, George Soros being one influential Jewish man with a big budget to fund progressive stuff, how does that reflect poorly on Jews in general? How does that lead to your conclusion that
Well,
Jews
I
did it?
picked one. I can pick many more. So I, as a conservative or fascist, whatever you want to call me, I obviously don't like trans things. I don't like any of the stuff you guys like, right?
Hmm.
So when I look at the people that are funding this and that are like pushing this,
Hmm.
they're mostly Jewish.
Aren't there a lot of
If
white
you,
people
if you,
too that are progressive?
of course,
So what
but
does it have to do
but
with them? So then what does it have to do with them being Jewish? Why are we not just saying like white people?
what are you asking me right now? I'm not sure I understand what you're
You're
saying.
saying that Jews tend to support a lot of the things that you dislike. And I'm saying,
Right.
yes, that might be true. Jews might be more progressive on average, but there's huge proportions of white people also. They're also really
Right.
progressive. Is it because they're
Of
white? What is
course.
the uniqueness to them being Jews?
Well, it's really contextualized by the Second World War. After the Second World War, we had all this never again, white people are, terrible because gas chambers, and then you also had the slavery thing. So white people have basically been conditioned for decades now to hate themselves and to prefer other people over themselves. So they've basically been conditioned to push the same thing that the Jews are pushing for different reasons.
But how does that even make
White people.
sense? What do you mean?
What do
So
you mean?
Jews are convincing white people to not respect themselves and to look at others. So that's why they're in favor of like trans people now more so?
Yeah, white people basically advocate for everyone besides themselves.
No, it's that your version of white people advocating for themselves is most likely some unhinged dribble that you got off 4chan, or maybe like you plagiarized from like an Adolf Hitler speech. Most people, when they talk about their own interests, especially in this country, when all of society benefits, we benefit as well. White people benefit as well. So when you talk
If
about
you
Jews, for
notice,
example, having lots of money, first of all, if you look at the average Jewish person, they don't actually tend to be that much wealthier than a lot of other people. And the second thing is that even if they were, that's benefiting the economy to a degree. Like why
well,
would they? How are Jews hurting white people? Even more so when if you look at Pew Research surveys, a huge majority of Jews will identify themselves as white. They are white
well,
people oftentimes, right?
Jews don't benefit white people because Jews view white people as a threat,
How?
mainly because of Hitler.
Then why would
They
they
don't
see them?
want.
Then why would they
Let me
identify
just finish.
themselves as white?
Let me just finish this. They don't want white people to feel a sense of unity or identity with their race because the last time that happened, they all got put in gas chambers,
What
right?
white
So
race?
whenever,
This is the problem.
okay, we're not going to go into that. That's just
You're just
ridiculous.
not making any sense. You don't want they don't
I'm
want us
making
to have any
perfect sense.
unity. What do you mean? White like Jews
I just told you what
predominantly
I mean.
identify as white here in this country. They are white skin. Their skin is white color.
Yeah, Indians have black skin. Are they black?
Wait. Are we talking about an
You,
actual
you,
ethnicity or are we talking about just white people? Because when you say white, there's not a white race. There's not
we're
white.
not gonna get into the semantics of what white means. I don't want to waste my time. We all know what white means.
So no, we
Jews
well, first of
come
all, no,
from the
we
Middle
don't.
East.
But
They're
second of all,
Semitic
Jews
people.
are white. They are white people. So
No,
why
they're
is it that they
Semitic.
are white? Why is it that they're Jews? What is the uniqueness to them being Jews? Why isn't it that there's just white people?
Do you think if you asked a Jewish person whether they identified as a Jew or as a white person, what do you think they would say?
Probably a Jewish white person.
No, they would say Jew.
I'm looking it up for you.
All I'm saying is white people should have a unity and a sense of identity, a sense of belonging. Should have a people you
You're not
belong
saying it.
to.
You're not saying that at all.
Because yeah,
You're saying they should have that sense of unity at the expense of others,
no,
people
I'm
that
not
you
saying
don't
that.
like.
That's what you think I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying we should go kill Jews.
I know.
I'm just
You don't need to
I'm
say
just
that. But
saying.
when you're trying to point fingers at some other group and say it's their fault that trans people are here or something, you've lost the plot.
Well, it is their fault though. Do you know who performed the first trans surgery?
Whom? John Money?
No, it was a German Jew by the name of Magnus Hirschfeld,
Okay.
and he owned the Berlin. What was it called? Berlin Institute of
Okay, so I'm
Sex
sorry to
or
cut you off
something.
again, but it's just,
Yeah, yeah.
first and foremost, here you go. Most Jewish Americans identify as white or non Hispanic.
Mm.
So you can look at
Mm.
that first. This was from Pew Research Center, May 11th, 2021. So, 1st and foremost, majority of Jews identify as white here in America. The second thing is, it's not that surprising that you would see a disproportionate amount of Jews involved in medical fields, for example, or academia, because throughout millennia, Jews have been specifically encouraged to pursue literacy. Jewish literacy rates have always been higher, even when the majority of the world was not as literate. So, because of those certain beliefs, that is obviously going to contribute to more success throughout your life. That's going to contribute to it because you have more education, of course. So, you're trying to be like, the Jews did the first transfer. Maybe it just so happened that there's like a disproportionate amount of Jews in certain medical fields because they might be a little smarter due to a very big cultural push for literacy and education. Like, you know
Well,
what I mean?
Jews are. Yeah, yeah. I know what you mean.
And so there's a Jewish
Jews are.
belief that's contributed to them being smart or having higher literacy rates. But yet, where's the Jewish belief
No,
that
it's
supports
not just
wiping out
about
white
being.
people or doing trans surgeries?
thing is, they are smart. I would not deny that they are smart, but they also have a kind of have a way of looking at the world, and they've always had this same way of looking at the world. If you look at Jewish history, it spans thousands of years, right? They've always been doing this. This is not recent, like Jews having high literacy rates or like being successful or having money. That's been the case since they existed.
Not,
That's
it's not
how
been the
they
case
roll.
since they existed. It's that you can read throughout history the way that Jews have had to overcome certain oppression throughout time. I mean, even the whole thing about them being in banks. Like there was a time where it went against the Christian religion to lend money, but it wasn't against the Jewish religion, or maybe it was the Catholic religion. It wasn't
No, it
against the
wasn't.
Jewish religion. So they were involved in money
No, 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 no.
lending before other people were.
You
But
could
that's not,
loan
again,
money.
because they're Jews. This doesn't mean that
You
Jews are doing
you
it.
could loan money under Christianity. You just couldn't loan it with interest. That's all. Jews introduced the interest thing.
Okay, cool.
Jews introduced a lot of different
So they were benefiting the
views.
economy even then. That's great.
Well, they were benefiting themselves at the cost of others, really, and that's what you're seeing now with Jewish power. It's thousands of years compounding with them at the top every single time, and now they just basically own trillions upon trillions. They own everything.
No,
They run the world.
they don't run
We
the
have to live.
world. They don't own everything. But even more so, because these massive corporations you're talking about are run by white people and men also. You should look at the proportion of
No,
men in high positions of power. But
it's all
we
run
would
by
all be
Jews, bro.
ridiculous to be up here being like, it's because men, they just control the world, you know? They have a way of thinking. Their penis makes them want to take power, you see? Like, we'd all be fucking idiotic for going that route. But for some reason, when you say the Jews did it, it makes sense. The Jews did not
Yeah,
do it. Maybe somebody
it's
happened to be
because
Jewish who did something you didn't like, but that doesn't mean Jews are guilty. Just like every time I read about a Florida man who fucked a crocodile, it doesn't mean that all men are disgusting bestiality crocodile fuckers.
you think whites are um, responsible for slavery in America.
Are you gonna first address my point?
Okay, repeat it, please.
I said every time a white Florida man, or every time a Florida man fucks a crocodile, it would be silly to say this is just all men now, right?
I mean, it would be a pattern, right? I mean, if you said like, Florida people are weird or messed up, I would say, yeah, you're right. They tend to do weird shit, right?
Okay. I mean, yeah, but if you were saying that Jews tend to lean more progressive, I would agree with you. But that doesn't seem to be what you're saying. It sounds
Right.
like you
Well,
tend to think that they have some malicious agenda of some sort.
well, I think the left is malicious. That's why I think Jews are malicious as well. Obviously, you disagree with it because you're a leftist. You're not going to agree with me because you agree with the Jews, basically.
I don't agree with
Obviously,
Jews. I agree with certain ideas that maybe Jews also agree with. Like, I don't know why you keep
right.
making it like the Jews. Like, you haven't explained to me what about them being Jews even makes them do this, according to
Well,
you.
it's. I mean, I could go into it, but I would be talking for hours. I think it's really a long history of people that is vast, and it takes years to study all of it. But
Okay, so do you think that
it's
Jews have like a genetic then? Like, do you think there's a genetic predisposition for Jews?
yes.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so then you're kind of just beyond help at that point. Do you ever think that maybe you have a genetic predisposition to being retarded?
Maybe I don't know.
Like
I am
that's
white,
definitely
so
a possibility if you think about it. But
I have the Viking blood in me, so maybe
if you
that's.
want to if you want to talk about genetic predisposition or whatever, like there is no genetic predisposition that would make a group of people do what exactly? Try to
Well,
undermine the country or something? I don't get it.
I'll tell you what it is. Well, it's the Jews have always been a tight knit group for thousands, like I said, thousands of years. They've always been
Probably a reason for
very
that.
family. Of course, we don't have to get into that. Just they're very family oriented,
hmm
tribal, in-group preference. They look out for each other, which I respect, by the way. I would love
They
for
don't.
white
Wait, how do
people
they
to do
look out
that.
for each other? Wait, hold on,
Uh,
wait. How do they look out for each other if they also tend to lean more progressive and are far more empathetic towards the struggles of other oppressed groups?
Well, they take care of each other by they are at the top, so they allow each other to mingle at the top. That's how they do things, and that doesn't mean like every single Jew is rich or anything. There are a lot of Jews that aren't rich. That happens. But if you look at Jews in America, for example, they make up about, I think, 1 or 2%
Okay.
of the population. But they also make up, like, I don't want to. You can Google this if you want to, but something like 40% or more billionaire class, or
But
the
you're
millionaire
you're
class,
you're
whatever.
trying to go the lazy route here. It's way easier and lazy to just be like, yeah, it's probably like genetic, you know? It's just the Jewish
Okay, we can go
blood
to the
that did it.
genetic thing.
When
I'll go
you said
back
they have
into
a
it. I'll
genetic
go back.
predisposition, so
Right.
don't worry about going back on it. It's fine. I'm just saying
No,
it's
no,
far more
I can.
believable that a long, rich cultural influence of education and pursuing knowledge and a high
Right.
and pursuing high achievement, stuff like that, would contribute to this kind of a mindset throughout generations.
Yes, but that's downstream from biology. If you know, intelligence is highly heritable, right? If you have a smart person that mates with another smart person, child's probably going to be smart,
And the
right?
way that that
They have,
happens, the way that generations continue to get smarter to then mate with other smart people is via education.
right, and they do that too. They've always been
So then
educated.
it's possible that
But
even if you're going to argue that there's some genetic high IQ thing, which we've never even found a gene that's responsible for intelligence, so I don't know about that. But even if you wanted to go that route, the actual root cause there is still social.
no, because social culture and society is downstream from biology.
No, it's
It
not.
all it
You're
all
wrong.
starts with
Our
biology.
biology adapts to culture as well. That's something you don't realize.
Well, that's minimum.
No, it's not.
That's
Haven't you
very,
ever heard
very.
of? Wait, haven't you heard of is it bioplasticity, brain plasticity?
Yeah,
That your brain will literally change and adapt based on your social environment. Yeah, this is absolutely the case.
yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true. But I think that heritability and the biological makeup, father and the mother, are way more important than the environment. Of course, the environment is very important and is important. I think the biology of the parents is actually more important.
Okay, that's fine. I mean,
But
I'm not even denying
we
that there's a degree of heritability when it comes to IQ. That's
not
true.
even just
But it's not that there's just that
listen,
heritability. It's that
listen.
how do you keep wait, it's that how do you keep seeing the IQ rates rise? It's that you have slightly better
Yeah,
nutrition
I'm
or
not
better
denying that.
education, so your IQ goes up
I'm
a
not
little bit.
denying
You
that.
give birth to kids with higher IQ, et cetera, et cetera. So
Yeah, yeah, I'm not denying
so
that.
if
I'm
you're
not
yeah,
saying
so
that's
for
not the
some
case.
reason you're like clinging to this weird biological thing, even though you're acknowledging that the social elements are what's playing a big role in that
But what I'm saying
IQ.
is, but what I'm saying is, Jews, they have a different starting point in terms of intelligence because of biology.
No,
Like
no.
if you
They would
take,
have they would if you're going to argue that, that would be because of the long social and cultural influence of pursuing education.
no,
You don't just have those
no,
genes cuz you're
Jews, Jews,
Jewish.
Jews pursue education because they are intelligent. If you look at, for example, black
And you
people,
think
right?
that's because of their genes or do you think it's because of the way they're socialized and encouraged and taught?
It's it's both, but it's mostly genes.
Okay, then you're just fucking stupid. I think that you need to go back to the drawing board on this one, pal. This doesn't make any
All
sense.
right, nice talking
Why
to
do
you,
people
brother.
commit more crime when they're poor than when they're less poor? Why do we see these
I don't
social
even know
things
what you're
change?
talking
Why do we
about.
see the IQ rates change based on education? It just
I when did I deny that? I never denied that. I don't know what you're
you're
going to.
acknowledging all of it, but then saying, yeah, but I still think it's more biology,
Exactly.
even though it would. Okay, yeah, that's why.
But
Okay,
if you let me I'll okay, I'll
I
just give
think
you
you
an
are
example.
biologically inferior to me. Goodbye. Why is it bad for Jews to be successful or pursue education? It's not. It's only bad when you're a Nazi.